Welcome to Vintage SF and my book acquisition video for May 2025. In my previous video, I talked about a road trip I took in Western Canada, and I did share some of those acquisitions from that road trip. We're going to continue here with the rest of the acquisitions from the road trip and some that I made here in Winnipeg. I'll put a link in the description to this video to my previous video about the road trip. So, from Brandon, Manitoba, I picked up The Best of Keith Laumer. By the way, at the end of this video, I will take care of the stickers that are on my books and perhaps do a little bit of cleanup as well. This is part of the pocketbook science fiction series of the best ofs. Then in Regina, Saskatchewan, I picked up The Anubis Gates by Tim Powers. This is a book I've been watching for since my friend Grammaticus has recommended it. Backward in time to solve an ancient mystery and create some new ones. The next three books I'm going to show you came from Echo Used Bookstore in Lethbridge, Alberta. Their books were in great condition. And one of my favorite authors, James H. Schmitz, had collections of books that were printed by Eric Flint. This is the one that I've been still missing, and so I found it in great condition. Eternal Frontier. Spreading through the cosmos, Earth's colonists have almost divided into two separate species. The swimmers, adapted to living in zero gravity, regard themselves as the next step in evolution, scorning planetary surface dwellers as little better than apes. The latter group, the walkers, are not about to say farewell to the planets they grew up on, and think the swimmers are not so much advanced as deranged. So this contains a full-length novel in here, and let's take a look at the table of contents. When we look at the table of contents, we can see that that novel is most likely The Eternal Frontier, and that goes from 571 to 724. Otherwise, we have short stories within here. And at the end, there's a James H. Smith's chronography by Guy Gordon. So that'll be great. This one came out in March of 2004. I've been collecting lately books by Robert Charles Wilson. This one, Chronoliths. And I've also been picking up a number of books by Jack McDevitt, Deep Six. Moving on, I've picked up a few more books in Calgary at a charity shop. Joe Haldeman, Forever Free. The long-awaited new novel, set in the universe of Joe Haldeman's classic Hugo and Nebula award-winning novels, The Forever War and Forever Peace. Now, Forever Peace might have been a thematically linked novel, but I don't really consider it part of that universe. This novel, however, picks up with a character from The Forever War, William Mandela. Clifford D. Simak. Project Pope. Robots, romance, and religion combine in the year's most unusual novel. In really great condition. One not quite in that condition, but something that I find difficult to find is Pole and Kornbluth, Search the Sky. This is a Penguin science fiction publication. Recently, Ira and Matt and I looked at The Best of Kornbluth, and we talked about Pole and Kornbluth and their collaborations together. I did find one of the culture novels that I was missing, Ian M. Banks, The Algebraist. I've been collecting this livery with different lines at the top, some different colors, and this is by Orbit Books. And some hardcovers. Once again, Robert Charles Wilson, this time Axis. This is a sequel to the Hugo Award-winning Spin. These next couple come from Periton Books in Saskatoon. This is an omnibus of David Brin's Startide Rising and The Uplift War, cover art by Richard Powers. So both of those novels are within this book. They call it Earth Clan. I believe that's a Science Fiction Book Club edition. And I'd mentioned in my road trip video that I picked up 2 books from The Species Imperative by Julie Sternada. I found the 3rd one in Periton Books, Regeneration. It is a series of 3 books, so now it's complete, and they're all in this beautiful DAW hardcover edition. So that completes the books that came from the road trip. Next, we're going to take a look at some gifts and books that I picked up here in Winnipeg. In the month of May, I was sending out a number of bookmarks from my channel. Here's an example. And one of the persons who requested the bookmarks sent me a gift of a book. It was an SF masterwork, Nicola Griffith's Ammonite. This is the first Nicola Griffith book that I have. On the back, we find out that Nicola Griffith was born in 1960 and is still with us. She was born in Yorkshire and currently lives in Seattle. An alumnus of Michigan State University Clarion Science Fiction Writing Workshop, she has won the Nebula, James Tiptree Jr., and World Fantasy Awards. There's an introduction by Graham Slight as well. And another gift from a friend of mine who actually had been traveling in Saskatoon and in one of the thrift stores found Great Tales of Science Fiction, compiled by Robert Silverberg and Martin H. Greenberg. And here you can see some of the authors included. This pickup is not because I don't have the book, but because I thought this is a very interesting edition of The Chrysalids by John Wyndham. There's notes by W.J. Holt. We'll see if I can clean that up. Why is this interesting to me? Well, this was a school book from the Ingersoll district. Their publication was from 1965, and there's illustrations. But what I found interesting was that each chapter had a glossary and some questions. In Canada here, we had the chrysalids taught in school and the Day of the Triffids. This was a great introduction to John Wyndham for a lot of children here in Canada. This next one, I don't believe is a science fiction book. Stanislaw Lem, A Perfect Vacuum. Let me tell you what it says here. It's translated by Michael Kandel, has done a lot of translation of Lem. In A Perfect Vacuum, Stanislaw Lem presents a collection of book reviews of non-existent works of literature, works that, in many cases, could not possibly be written. Embracing postmodernism's games for game's sake ethos, Lem joins the contest with hilarious and grotesque results. Very interesting. I just may read a few of the entries just to get a feel for it. And now a couple of anthologies to finish it off. Golden Age of Science Fiction, edited by Groff Conklin. And here are the stories. And the last one for this month, Another anthology, The Ascent of Wonder, The Evolution of Hard SF, edited by David G. Hartwell and Catherine Kramer. And there you go, a list of authors. It's almost 1,000 pages of stories. So there really was a bumper crop of books this month. This is the biggest month so far for 2025. Stick around if you like to see me clean up some of these books, erasing some of the prices, perhaps cleaning the jackets, and also taking care of those nasty stickers. Until next time, remember a hairdryer is your friend, and keep reading.